my last one here is the Colts, and this is a little bit of a, I'll be able to tell you the problem. I'm not 100% sure what the solution is here. Or this is more like, let me identify that this is the fatal flaw, is ultimately if they can't figure out what to do against pressure. Weeks 1 to 8, Daniel Jones, 9.8% pressure to sack rate. Only Dak Prescott was better. 0.8 total EPA added under pressure. That was the best among all quarterbacks. Only 3 quarterbacks, including Daniel Jones, had a positive EPA under pressure. Dak and Mahomes. 8.9 adjusted yards per attempt, third behind Lamar and Matthew Stafford. So great stuff under pressure, weeks 1 to 8.
Right.
Weeks 9 to 10, these last 2 games. 40% pressure to sack rate. It's tied with Aaron Rodgers, who can't move a muscle, for last in the NFL. Minus 24.3 total EPA, also dead last. And 9.08 adjusted yards per attempt. Only Lamar and Drake May were better amongst guys that have played 2 games here. So I think that goes to show you that the throws are still there. Like they're actually, when he's able to get the ball off, there are still big plays to be made and successful plays to be made and still answers in the offense for when there's pressure. We just got to get the ball out. Like that's the thing. We have to get the ball out of Daniel Jones's hand, because otherwise,
put the ball in play.
Put the ball in play. Still one of the best offenses in the league. Don't get the ball out. Literally the worst in the league the last 2 weeks. And I wrote a whole piece about this after the Pittsburgh game about why I did not think this was a blueprint that the Steelers threw out there in terms of, all right, this is how you shut down this Colts offense or anything, because they were actually still good on a down-to-down basis. It was just turnovers and sacks and things of that nature. And also, I didn't think that people would be able to copy the Steelers' game plan, which was completely shift up your coverage plan and take a corner and put him at safety. You know, a Hall of Fame corner and throw him at safety and throw out a guy that you just traded for, and Kyle Duggar is in every snap play. I didn't think teams were going to be able to transfer that week to week. The one thing I will say that exactly. The one thing I will say, though, that the Falcons are another one of these fronts that can just overwhelm you with a lot of blitzes and pressure off the edge and just mug things up front and play with a lot of speed, which I think Pittsburgh, when their back end is all buttoned up, which it was in that game against Indianapolis, as good as the Steelers can be, then they're a team that also can fly around and put a lot of pressure and throw a lot of bodies at the problem up front. So I am wondering if Indianapolis runs into a team like that, do then we see those negative plays for Daniel Jones, which ultimately they still won this game and there were still really positive moments on offense. It's just now we're talking about them being that best team, best offense in the league, or are they a team that wins 1 playoff game, wins 2 playoff games? Like, what are the Colts? The Colts are good. We know they're good. We know they're a contender. That's fine. Just now figuring out that ceiling. Is this going to be the thing that stops them from being a true Super Bowl team? They have a bye this week. Then they face Kansas City and Houston, then Jacksonville, and then Seattle out of the bye. So there's definitely a lot of some tough tests there, especially that Seahawks game. I mean, the Seahawks are another team that can just overwhelm you up front. So a lot of, I think it's good that Steichen has a week off to try to kind of add some things in here. I'm not sure what those plans would be. That's why he gets paid millions of dollars, and I'm just here doing this podcast from my home office. But I think that there's got to be some ways here where, all right, how can we get the ball out of Jones' hands faster when we get some of those more pre-snap heavy blitz looks, and then if it's a simulated pressure, where are our answers here and there? Because I think that's really where we're at right now with Indianapolis in terms of figuring out the true ceiling of this offense.
Well, it's been so cool to watch every week. They go like, oh, we can do this week. It works. We can do this week. It works. Like, it's been really fun to watch this offense. But no, this is great because it is noticeable that this is why when Daniel Jones came in, I kind of was like, well, man, he takes a lot of sacks, doesn't really throw the ball in the middle, not a great deep ball thrower. I can kind of like start shorting out when he gets under pressure. And through, like you said, first 2 months of the season, I was like, oh, wow, he's playing smoothly. Like, is Darnold and Seattle is another comparison. Obviously, these two are going to get compared a lot this year. But as far as they're not taking sacks because they're reading it out and the plays, they're understanding where to go with the ball, even when it's not ideal, which is just, again, like it's just little things. The stats are showing that, but when you watch it, you can kind of feel it. The Ramsey thing is funny, by the way. I've been wanting to see Jalen Ramsey as a safety for years. So now I finally get to see it, but it's because the Steelers are so desperate that they have to do it. But I still like it. But I did notice in that Steelers game was Bernhard Raimann, the left tackle, who has been much better over the last couple of years, and I would say is an above-average starter at left tackle. The last 2 weeks, he's gotten abused. His pressure rate, one-on-one pressure rate allowed over the last 2 weeks is 15.8%. Basically anything over like 12% is pretty bad, but you want to be around that kind of 10% mark. Over the first 2 months of the season, it was 8.6%. So almost doubled over the last 2 weeks. He allowed 6 quick QB pressures over the first 8 weeks of the season. The last 2 weeks, he's allowed 6. So that kind of just shows you. And I thought Highsmith was abusing him in that game too. But that's speaking to what you're saying. That instant pressure on Daniel Jones can lead to the bad. And they have avoided so much bad this year that it's like, and I do think they can insulate him so much from it. But when a guy just loses one-on-one, that stinks. Like, it is what it is. Like, that's the guy we had going against that guy. You know what I mean? It's not like a scheme. Maybe they have to provide more chip help. But okay, they can do those things. Yeah. I've seen and they've been avoiding kind of giving chip help, and that's what's led to a lot of their offense because they can just get everybody out.
Led to these like wide open throws in the flats with Tyler Warren and stuff. But yeah, does he have to become a guy that doesn't truly stay in line, but can he be like a check and release type player? Can Michael Pittman take more?
Yeah.
Because I mean, Downs is great. He's an awesome slot receiver. He's tiny. You maybe don't want him being the check and release player. So do you want to maybe alternate? And when you're in 11 personnel, you put Downs outside, and Michael Pittman is that like big slot check and release player because I think he can play pretty physical. So I think there are options here, but you're right. They had been able to avoid that and get a lot of guys. Which is funny because I think the NFL is kind of going the other direction where it's get fewer guys out in the route and like make it more defined, you know, in these base personnel. So they were getting a lot of guys out in the route and making basically everybody eligible. Do you maybe have to constrict that a little bit to provide help here in this particular instance? Because I just think otherwise it's pretty tough.
The one thing I'll say too, I've really liked with the Colts, and I noticed it most against the Falcons because they were just running the ball so well, was they've really separated the RPOs now where they'll just run straight run plays. It's not the Gardner Minshew offense when he was with the Colts where his RPOs like literally every single play. It was every variation of RPO you could ever think of. Sorry, I've straightened my hat like 400 times. Anyone watching on a YouTube show? But no, it's watching the RPOs or lack of now that they've stopped the RPOs, you can see the receivers and the size of the receivers, Pittman, Pierce, who almost had 100 yards on my Hail Mary prediction. Almost got it in the first half, too. They're just straight up going up to block guys, going up to block the safeties, going up to block the slots. And why I'm bringing that up is, do they just tag a few more RPOs just to open things up out of the bye week? Maybe just, in a way, streamline things. I know RPO seems like, oh, wow, isn't that making it complex? It actually makes it more easy on the quarterback because now you're just saying that it's less drop back stuff that he has to sort through. So, again, they have options. That's why I'm so bullish on this offense still, even if they've had some blemishes recently. And actually, I like the Sauce Gardner addition. I know it was a lot. We can talk about value and everything, but as far as what the Colts are this year, really like it. So I'm just focusing on that. But yeah, so that was one answer that they needed to find. The offense has done so many good things. I am curious, too, when they come out of the bye, what it looks like. That Chiefs game is going to be a lot of fun because that is a defense that will test what you got and what your answers are for everything. So they're still a good team. It's just that was a good one to bring up, though, because I have felt that a little bit where some more plays are spiraling than they have. This whole year, they felt like they're always in control. Just always had a good answer for everything, Jones included. And I agree with you. I felt some spiraling moments.